Okay, here are the top 5 reasons why people choose to have affairs. Now, there are a lot of reasons. There are a lot of secondary reasons, but these, I believe, are the top 5 that I've encountered in my experience in coaching. And we'll see. We'll see if maybe your spouse falls into that, or if you recognize any of these. So let's start with the first. Let's talk self-esteem. Having another person outside of your marriage find you interesting, attractive, want to spend time with you is a huge boost to one's self-esteem, especially if you've been married a while. Knowing that you still got it, that self-esteem boost can be very attractive and can lead to other things. But I will say sometimes it starts in someone's deep-seated lack of self-esteem that leads them to seek out another person. So self-esteem can definitely play a role in choosing to have an affair. They feel, number 2, the second reason that seems to be pretty common is that sometimes a spouse feels disconnected from their spouse. Like they feel like there's just not a spark anymore. You just don't have time for each other anymore. You're not spending quality time together. You're not talking, things like that. You feel disconnected, and maybe they start wishing that they had a connection, but instead of leaning into their marriage to have that connection rekindled, maybe they choose to go outside of the marriage to find a connection with someone else. Sometimes when they're feeling disconnected, opportunities open up to them, whether it be a coworker or someone they know who starts talking to them. They thought, oh, well, if that person's going to talk to me about their problems, I can talk to them. And sometimes that ends up becoming a full-fledged affair, whether it be emotional, physical, or both. So definitely feeling disconnected can filter into it. The third prominent reason why sometimes people choose to have an affair, and I believe this one probably should have been number 1. I didn't have these in any particular order, but I believe underneath a lot of affairs is pain. Someone is hurting for whatever reason, from whatever situation or cause or memory or trauma or whatnot. Hurt is lingering, and people who choose to have an affair sometimes don't know what to do with that pain. And so instead of choosing to do something positive and healthy with it and getting the help they need, or even talking to their spouse about it, they soothe the pain through external means. So sometimes an affair can come from just being in pain, hurting in here, and not knowing what to do with it. The fourth could be when someone chooses to have an affair that there's actually an underlying condition. There's something psychological or physiological that could be contributing to their desire to have an affair. Sexual compulsion disorder, sex addiction. I've read articles that sometimes ADHD can play a factor in someone's compulsive behaviors. Someone who has personality disorders, narcissistic personality disorder, things like that. There's sometimes a comorbidity that goes with someone choosing to have an affair. There's something happening underneath the surface that needs to be addressed. And then you have the fifth most common reason, and this is sad. A lot of times, not all the time, but there are a good chunk of times when someone who has chosen to have an affair has a past trauma or something in their past. It doesn't necessarily have to be a traumatic event. It could be simply the way they were raised, but something from their past is creeping its way up into who they are and what they're choosing to do with their life right now. Okay? So those are the 5 things: self-esteem, feeling disconnected, carrying a great deal of pain and hurt, an underlying condition, and then a past trauma experience, how they were raised or whatnot. Now, all of these things, the reason why these were able to infiltrate a person and that person goes and acts out through an affair, the reason why that all happened is because that person lacked either the understanding, the ability, or the willingness to communicate their struggles with their spouse. So really the big thing underneath this top 5 is the lack of willingness, the lack of ability. Listen, some people just really struggle talking about this stuff. And I go back to that past business. If you were raised in a household where you didn't talk about your feelings, someone's really going to struggle to go to their spouse and talk about their feelings. So they're going to choose to do something unhealthy like have an affair because they don't know how to talk to their spouse about what's going on inside of them. Or maybe they fear judgment. Maybe it's tied to the self-esteem issue. So it's so incredibly critical to create a safe environment within our relationship to have safe conversations. If our spouse wants to share how they feel with us, knowing that it might upset us, it might trigger us, things like that, they're going to choose not to talk to us about it if they fear our response. We want to create a safe environment for them to talk to us moving forward, especially if we want to have a healthy marriage on the other side of this, right? So these are the 5 things. These are the top 5 things. I would say there are probably many more out there. These are the ones that I hear the most often through coaching, my coaching practice. If you are interested in a free consultation, you're looking for a coach, that link is below, as well as I've got some free materials. Please be sure to grab them. And I have a Facebook group, so I encourage you to hop on that Facebook group as well. It's a fantastic support system. It's only for women, so only for wives. So if you are a husband watching this, I apologize, but it's only for women. And guys, get that communication going, okay? Work with a counselor, work with a coach. See if you can't create a safe space for your spouse to be able to talk to you so that even if these things creep back up again, they'll talk to you instead of going out and doing other things. That's the healthy thing to do, okay?